Hi, thanks for joining me again on, I don't really call this a podcast. I don't know what it is. It's a video series. My name's John. I am the Side That Franchise guy. And today I have Dick Cassidy with me. Dick is with SignWorld, which I'm going to let you share the story, Dick, but it's not actually a franchise for those of you who are watching this later. But it's very, very similar. We call it a business opportunity. So welcome, Dick. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, John, thanks for the opportunity to chat with you today. Certainly appreciate it. So, real quick introduction on me. I had a 30-year career in medical devices, and I retired from that in 2018 after spending 2,700 nights in a hotel room in my life and traveling around the globe 5 million miles. I just thought it was time to hang up my cleats. So, at that time, I also knew that I wasn't going to sit at home and do nothing. So I was contacted by a franchise broker similar to that franchise guy,
Right.
John, down here in Dallas, Texas. And they talked to me about a couple different opportunities, and a few of them I wasn't really that interested in. But then I participated in a webinar with the company called SignWorld, and I'd never made a sign in my life, didn't really know much about it. I think I probably had purchased a sign or some graphics once or twice in my career, but didn't know a whole lot about it. So jumped on the webinar and started to learn about it. And what I found was that it was, very appealing. It looked like a great business model to be able to start a company, build it, and sell it. So one of the things that I had done in my past life is I'd done big corporations, worked for big corporations. I also had done 4 or 5 startups in the medical device world, but it was always with somebody else's money, either private equity money or venture capital money, but never with my own. So I did have this, I guess, this desire to, start my own company, build it, and then sell it, just to, for the personal satisfaction of saying, hey, I did that, right?
Right.
And when I started looking at the sign world model, it became appealing because it wasn't overly complicated. You could build a multi-million dollar business with a small number of employees from a single location, and you could scale that business as big as you want. And I learned that Sign World's largest customer, or excuse me, largest owner generated $40 million in revenue. I knew that really the sky was the limit.
Right.
So I researched the industry for probably about 8 months, kind of while I was also, looking for a place to place my business. But I literally went on discovery days with 4 other sign and graphic franchises.
Mm.
The big ones: Fast Signs, Speed Pro, Image 360, Sign Biz, Sign World. And I landed on the SignWorld model because there were no rules, there was no royalties,
Yeah.
and I had unlimited geography on where I could market and sell the products, and that was super appealing to me. And I got to be able to build my brand, right? I wasn't flying the flag of a franchise, which was also appealing. I wanted to be my brand that I was
Yeah.
able to build.
So
So
I want to come back to and finish your story first, but a lot of people right now are thinking, okay, there's no franchise royalties. Where do they make their money? How do they even support you? So I think it's a good place to interject there and just touch on real quickly that how they support you like a franchise, even though they're not collecting all those monthly fees.
yeah, so that's a great question. Well, to start off, the first thing is that SignWorld doesn't have a huge infrastructure, so there's not as much overhead with the SignWorld model as there is with some of the other franchise models. And that's one thing, is there's less overhead. However, um, I would say that the cost to join the SignWorld network is very similar to some of these other franchises that you're going to
Mhm.
compare it to. But what SignWorld offers is the complete package of support, and that starts from once you sign an agreement with SignWorld. They're going to help you with your real estate needs. We've worked with a real estate person for the past 30 years that's placed literally hundreds of owners in their initial locations. He's helped them, with their lease. He's also helped owners that have decided to go on and purchase their property.
Yeah.
Then after you start there, we're going to help you on the HR front. We're going to, make a recommendation on the type of person you should hire. We're going to help you write the job description. We're going to tell you where to place that ad. And then we're going to even help you, with your final interview. Once you bring a candidate forward and say, hey, I want to hire this person, we're going to make sure that that person is who they say they are and that they have the experience and the expertise. Then from there, we're gonna give you the initial training on the technical side of things.
Yeah.
Going to give you the initial on the business side of things, and then once you're starting up your business, we're going to help you with all aspects of it. We've got over 100 preferred partners that we work with. We're going to connect our owners with those preferred partners. The first one we'll probably work with is our preferred marketing partners. We have 3 or 4 of those that have built hundreds of signographic websites. So we're going to connect you with those people, and they're going to build you a website that's going to be state of the art, so that when your customers go to that site, it's going to look like you've been in business for a decade.
Yeah.
It's going to be great graphics, visually appealing. It's going to have stuff that's going to help you to generate leads, and it's going to get customers contacting you because of the website that they built.
It's phenomenal. I didn't mean to interrupt there, and certainly want you to finish your story of how you got into the business and into what you're doing right now. I'll let you finish that. But I just think it was important to point out that, while there isn't that franchise royalty you have to pay every month, you are getting, all the same support, all the same, if not more than that, with all those partners.
Yeah, it's honestly, I mean, I have something to compare it to, because I went through these discovery days with 4 other signographic franchises, and I can assure you from my observation, the type of support that SignWorld provides is every bit as good, if not better, than any of the franchises that I went and visited. And it doesn't stop with the marketing. I mean, it goes on. We have up to 30 programs a month that an owner can participate in, from everything from accounting, finance, manufacturing, project management, installation. Yeah. The list goes on, and we bring in outside sources as well as internal people. Plus, there's a network of 340 owners that you can reach on and lean on to help answer a lot of the questions you might have.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to point it out too. That was one of the things that was made clear to me when I met you out at the home office. And so this, for anybody watching this later, we're March of 2024. I visited out there in August of 23 and did a full day tour of 3 different franchise. There I go. I told you I was going to do that. 3 different SignWorld locations, and the home office, and it was first class. And the ability for somebody in Southern California, say, to have a relationship with a international manufacturing company who maybe has a facility in Dallas that needs a really big sign, and to be able to have that relationship, make the sale, and call you in Dallas and say, hey, Dick, can you help me get this installed? Work together on it. Or and I know that's just tip of the iceberg with what you guys can do with that peer-to-peer network and support from each other. So
Sure.
So talk a little bit about, you've certainly touched on it, but why signs? If somebody's looking at this and going, okay, so this was not even on my radar. John mentioned I should consider this, and now I'm watching John's video, talking to Dick, who's been there and done it, and in a short time. I want to hear the end of that story too. So, why should they really look at this, and maybe who should be looking at it?
Right. Well, if you're like most of the SignWorld owners today, I can't think of a single owner that had ever been involved in the signing graphics industry, right? And I'm not sure any of us woke up and said, "Hey, I'm going to start a sign company," right?
Yeah.
I think what ends up happening is that they see what our owners do, and they see the type of businesses that they run, and they see the things that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And at least for me, that's what became appealing, right? So it's a business model, it's a business to business model, B2B, right? So we're not dealing with, retail customers per se. We're dealing with Fortune 500 companies and local businesses.
Yeah.
And it's a repeat clientele. So, these are type, by the time an owner's been in business, for a couple of years, they're doing a lot of repeat business, and 20% of their customers are doing 80% of their business. So that model is appealing, right? You're not dealing with,
Hmm.
an individual person that comes in and wants to buy a banner. That you may sell banners like that, but that's not your primary customer
Yeah.
base. So that I think is appealing. It's a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 8 to 6, 8 to 5 type of model. So you're not, it's not intended to work on weekends or at nights. Not to say you're never going to work a weekend or never going to work a night, but that's not the model, right? The other thing is you don't have a ton of employees. It's a handful of employees to build $1 million business. When we sold our company in March of last year, we were doing $2.1 million and we had 7 employees. So
Yeah.
that I think is appealing. So you don't have, hundreds of people that you have to deal with, because 100 people means 100 headaches sometimes.
Right. So just to again finish on your journey with as an owner, I'll say, so tell everybody when because we were talking about this before I turned the lights on and hit the record button,
Yeah.
about how you got started. So, I think that's really relevant when you talk about selling a business that was doing, $2 million.
Right. So I had a goal when I started after researching this industry for 6 or 8 months. I said, you know what, if I could build a $2 million business, that's going to be something that people are going to be interested in. That's going to be a valuable asset that somebody one day would be interested in acquiring.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my goal when I started. I thought it was going to take me 5 years to do it. We ended up doing it in 3. So we opened our doors on February 1st, 2020, about a month before, the March Madness got canceled and all that kind of right?
Worldwide pandemic. Oh my goodness. Yes.
But to be honest with you, it had very little impact, positive or negative, on our business.
Okay.
And I think that's another thing that becomes appealing about the sign industry is it's while it may not be recession proof, I would say it's very recession resistant. So
Yeah.
if companies are going out of business, they need signs. If companies are restructuring, they need signs. If companies are starting up, they need signs. So no matter what the economic situation is,
Yeah.
signs are a big part of the need. I mean, we were considered an essential business during that pandemic.
Yeah.
So
That's Well, and
that,
that's amazing, even without factoring in the pandemic piece, just to build a $2 million business in 3 years in any economy in any time,
yeah,
and sell it is a testament to what's out there. Not just, the $40 million business that's out there somewhere, but to build and exit within 3 years and make some money and go do something else.
right. Yeah.
What? Oh, go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say, so obviously, you've got a strong sales background, and I'm sure that contributed to your success. But is it important? Does somebody watching this do they got to feel like I'm a salesperson to get into this business?
yeah. Well, actually, I'm the kind of the anomaly, right? Most of our owners have come from an engineering background or a project management background.
Mhm.
Those would be probably the two most common backgrounds of our owners. Um, but we have owners of all types. There are a few sales and marketing guys like myself.
Mhm.
We have accountants, we have CFOs, we have HR people, we have IT people, but project managers, operations managers, and things like that. I think the type of background you have is not necessarily as important as the type of skills that each individual has. And I think the owners, if I think of, and I talk to the owners out there that have had, a large amount of success, I think there's some common themes that we'll see in those owners. And I think that's the thing that I think people start to gravitate towards and say, hey, I could do that. And
Mhm.
the things that jump out to me are, are you good at solving problems? Are you responsive? Do you enjoy working with other people to help them with some of the things that are important to them? And do you follow up with them? Do you have good skills that you want to give them a positive experience with, with you or with your company or with your business? So to be good in the sign business, you don't need the things that you might think you need. I mean,
Mhm.
most of our owners don't come from a creative background. You hire people that bring that part to your business. And if you can't find someone to hire, you outsource that part of it to build your business. And there's it's to sort of run a successful sign company, it's just executing on the basics of the business, because those that execute well on the basics end up having a very successful sign company, because most sign companies that are out there don't execute on the basics. They don't answer the phone. They're not responsive to you. They don't
Yeah,
provide you with good customer service. They're not helping you solve your problems. And those are the things that turn a average company into a great company in this industry.
that's awesome. No, I think, and you could probably say that about a lot of industries, but certainly the sign comparison in terms of your competitors who don't answer the phone and don't solve problems, I can attest to. So, um, well, listen, time flies when you're having fun, and this has been really, really good. I should tell everybody, we talked just about roughly what does it cost to get started is similar to all your franchise competitors. Uh, basically about 260,000 all in, get you open, get you to your business sustaining itself, correct?
Yeah, so yeah, 260 is the total
Yeah.
investment. Of that, 85,000 is something you control, and that's 50,000 of working capital, 35,000 of startup expenses, which covers your first 3 months rent, your utility hookups,
Mhm.
setting up your place of business and things like that. And then 175,000 gets paid to SignWorld for all of your equipment, your software, your lifetime training and support, your initial training and support, and a one-time licensing fee to SignWorld. But it's
Yeah.
that's kind of what the 260 covers.
Well, and not just signs that you mentioned some of the other names, which they're all going to be in that 250 to 300 range, but a
Right.
lot of comparable businesses as well. So, anybody, and I think the other thing we should be clear about is this is an owner operator kind of model, right? This isn't somebody who's going to keep a job and try and build this on the side. So you do need to commit that time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. John. I think we do have owners that will end up starting the business, and then over the course of time, after they end up hiring a general manager. But early on, you definitely want to be
Yeah.
a hands-on, all-in
Right.
operator. And but over time, we do see owners, that do end up hiring general managers, and they take up more of a backseat role. But that's further down the line,
Yeah.
not certainly not initially.
Well, and I'm glad you clarified that. I tell people frequently that in my mind, any business that's worth being in, you should be able to step back and put somebody else in place.
Right.
Because if you go or when you go to sell it, it's a lot more valuable to somebody in that position, right? And rather than
That is you hit the nail right on the head. That's when I knew I had a valuable business, is when, the first 2 years, I think I knew every single sign we ever made, every single customer we did business with. In year three, after I hired my general manager, things had a drastic changes. I didn't know, there was so much that I didn't know. But that's at that time is when I realized that I had a valuable business,
yeah.
because the business was operating, without I didn't have to touch every single thing. My employees were the ones running the company, and that's what made it a more valuable and more attractive to the company that acquired us.
Awesome. I'll say that the last thing for me, also for you who watching this, you do not go by, in my case, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Sign World of Tulsa or Sign World of Dallas. They help you brand it to your own brand, your own personal, you know, there's obviously some thought that goes into that, but we didn't make that point. Um, Anything else that you think is relevant for a high level, conversation like this that might get somebody interested in having a conversation around Sign World?
Well, I think the biggest thing to me is that if you're for anybody that's out there that's looking to build a business, The things that are attractive about this are the B2B model, at least in my opinion. The things that are attractive is the B2B model. Um, it's a light manufacturing business,
Mhm.
so the profitability that's associated with that when it comes down to resale is good. Um, the You get to make some cool stuff, so your every day that an owner is out there, it's never the same. So there's a wide variety of things that people get to do on a day-to-day basis. And again, with a small number of people, it's a it can be a very enjoyable business, and when it comes time to sell, it can be very profitable and lucrative for those that end up going through that process.
I think that's great. And the world doesn't need another burger joint or pizza place, right? And so
But I can tell you that they need another sign company.
that's right.
We had 450 sign companies in Dallas when I opened mine up, and we did business with probably 20 sign companies in Dallas ourselves. So we did business with them;
Yeah.
they did business with us. It's a very collaborative business and a very collaborative industry. So it's very unique in that regard. That's
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
so many different niches within the sign world and the opportunity to focus on, that was one takeaway I left that visit to the home office with was those three different operators in California that we saw. All three made money, sorry, made good money different ways,
Yep.
focusing on different pieces of the sign company or the sign world. So listen, I sure appreciate your time today and sharing some of your thoughts and experiences with SignWorld, with those people who may be interested. If you're watching this and you've got your curiosity is now piqued, you can message me here either if you're watching this on the YouTube channel or on LinkedIn or on my website. There's forums everywhere, or just message me, or you can go to thatfranchiseguy.com and it's there. So thanks again, Dick. Appreciate it, and
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll have some people. You'll get to talk to Dick, by the way, after a couple conversations in the process.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate the opportunity to connect with you today.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it.